Welcome everybody to this workshop on site reliability engineer. So friends, today the agenda of this workshop is to go over uh, to understand what is site reliability engineer, this job profile, what this profile is about, and the roles and responsibility that we have. Okay. Uh, you guys have turned up here means you are interested to understand about this profile. Maybe you aspire to become a SRE engineer right, in your future. We'll get to that, friends. Let me introduce myself, friends. My name is Rasan. I have overall 18 years experience. This is not updated here. I have asked my team. Okay, so 18 years experience in IT, friends. I started my career as a Java developer. Then I've been into various other tools. I've been into system admin. I've been into uh, DevOps consultant. Currently, I'm working as a principal SRE in one of the reputed giants of the world, friends. I have I have worked with multiple cloud, AWS, Azure, GCP. I'm a solution architect associate certified. I'm a Kubernetes Terraform expert, friends. So that's a background about me. I have been into performance engineering from last in my career up to 6 to 8 years. I was there, and then my role is also related to performance engineering as well, but into different domains now. I'm into mostly into system design, infrastructure of engineering, performance application engineering as well. Okay, working as a currently working as a principal SRE with one of the reputed giants of the world. That's the background. So, friends, before we get started on this SRE, understand about this journey, I would like to know about you so that I can understand your profile, so that I can guide, I can have my uh, discussion around that. So briefly, I would like everybody to use the chat option. Briefly introduce yourself as a core skill. For example, performance testing, performance engineering, DevOps, uh, QA automation, right? And years of experience. If you could just quickly brief me about this, if or you're into development, developer, which developer you are, Java, Python, or into cloud support. So I would like to just know this thing briefly, friends, before I get started. Please help me understand your profile better. Your DBA, anything, friends. I'm just giving you keywords to use it. And please mention years of experience as well. I hope I'm audible to all, right? I can see Server performance testing, 15 years, Servani here, 6 years of performance testing 6 years, Praveen, Naresh, performance testing 6 years, Aditi, Mohammed QA 7 years, performance engineering 10 years, right? Okay, I guess that's where most of the profiles and ends up. But becoming a SRE, we'll talk about that. You could be in any profile here. I've seen people getting transition from various other profiles. Okay, good friends. Thank you for this introduction, friends. I understand my audience better now. Thank you. Okay, so friends, I see most of you are performance testers, engineers. Few are QA automation engineer. I see. So I'm going to assume that QA automation engineers, you are involved into web-based application automation, right? Aditi or Muhammad, right? Web-based automation. You must be using tools like Selenium if you're doing automation, if not manual, right? To script the UI flows, right? Web app, right? Okay, sure. So your Java knowledge would be helpful. Your whatever the automation that you do, your Java programming language using Selenium, you need to use Java, right? Or you could use Python also, Python with Selenium. So we will get to that. How? So because the core skill is what I'm going to talk about is Java here, Java programming. That you already have being in automation. I would say programming, any programming could be Java, Python, would be helpful to become an SRE engineer. Okay, good. Okay, friends. So let's understand this. SRE, right? Site Reliability Engineer. One of the questions that I have always been getting, Rasan, how this profile is different from performance engineer profile, performance testing profile, and how easy, how relevant is it is for a performance tester engineer to transition the career to SRE. Very frequent question. Friends, one of the key difference between the performance tester engineer and SRE engineer is this. The SRE engineer works in production. Performance engineer tester works in non-production environment, right? Because I have been performance tester engineer myself. I have been into worked with load runner, JMeter, performance engineering. I've been my career. So I understand. You you test it for a new feature, any feature that's being developed or any regression that's happening. You test it, performance test it, and you certify whether the performance is inline or not. If it's a new development, first time, we are involved into optimization as well. Java performance engineering. If it's a based on Java application, we tune, we play around GC algorithm better. We check how memory management is there. We optimize for the heap. We optimize for the thread usage, right? We have various techniques to do that. We do that. But once the product is stable, doing for maintenance, we keep on running the regression suite and certify the product. That's what we usually do. So key difference: performance tester, engineer, anybody working in this domain. Performance testers, engineers, you work in non-production environment. But as an SRE engineer, our role, site reliability engineering, our role is to make the production the end goal, friends. What is the end goal of everything? Developer developing the code, QA engineers doing functional testing, performance engineers, testers doing performance testing, security
It
testers doing
should not
security testing.
crash
Right,
and should be reliable, and security should be there.
exactly. So I would put in a better words. So high availability, crash, you use the word crash. I'll put high availability, high performing. Let me use the word correctly so that you guys remember it. Maybe you will be hearing this word for the first time. Highly available, highly performing, secure, reliable, cost efficient. These are the five objective, friends. In the production, anybody, customer, your company expects you to design an application, tune the application in a way to achieve all these things. So it'll be highly available. We don't want downtime. Now, downtime could be happening because of various reasons. The way the software is deployed, the application is deployed in the cloud. Let's say if it's a cloud, how it is deployed in the cloud. Are we leveraging multiple AZs or not? Or do we have a single point of failure or not? I'll just keep it simple. Not sure how many of you know cloud. We should avoid single point of failure. If you have, let's say, three-tier application, web server, app server, database server. If you have only one server for web, one server for app, one server for database, do we have a single point of failure or not?
No.
Okay, I'll repeat my question. Others, please understand. You have one web
Mm.
server, one app server, one database server. Do you have a single point of failure or not?
But these are three different servers handling the three different.
But three different components, but you have only one server in each
Okay,
one of them.
then it will be single point of failure.
Does everybody understand this? Friends, I want you to take something from this session. Okay. That's one of the main objective of this. You have joined here. I would like to make your session worth for 1 hour. Please participate. Do we understand this? How do we say it's single point of failure? Everybody, you can use the thumbs up, friends. If you do not want to, let's say, unmute yourself, there is an icon, react option. Give a thumbs up also. So I would be understanding that you understand. Okay, I'm gonna zoom now. Silence that we're all good. Okay, friends, just single point of failure. We should avoid single point of failure. The applicants will be highly performing. Again, we have to make sure we meet the SLA of, let's say, if it's an API.
Roshan,
Mhm.
sorry to stop you. Can you brief about like what do you mean by like single point of failure?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Please acknowledge. Single point of failure, SPOF. So we have only one web server. If that web server goes down, what will happen to your application?
Application will crash.
Down. It will be
Yeah, it will be
downtime. We
down.
call it down,
Yep.
right? That's what it means. Any failure in the application would create, any failure, any single issue which brings the application down is called
Uh,
single point of failure.
fail. Cool. Thank you.
But let's say if you have two web servers and on top of it you have a load balancer. Think about it. Just think about a situation. I will draw this, friends.
Then 3 points of failure.
No. You're not getting my point. Let me, Aditi, just we'll come to your question. So let's say you have two web servers, multiple web servers, and on top of it, let's talk about the user journey. When a user, right, like you and me, access a website, make my tip Amazon, Flipkart.com, Myntra.com, right? We hit, we hit a domain name, Amazon.com, Flipkart.com, is a domain name. Domain server resolves our IP and it redirects our request to a load balancer, which is basically the load balancer of the which is on top of the web server. These are very fundamentals that we're talking about. We should have this understanding, right? Then only we can discuss anything on top of it. So we hit the load balancer, which balances that traffic. Right? Being a performance tester engineer, one of the first thing that we should know is the application flow. Do we all agree? The high level diagram.
Yes.
Without that, can you troubleshoot any application? Not possible.
No.
So that's what we need to do. So we have a, let's say, load balancer. And load, why is the load? All the requests when the user hit the website and after resolving, the request comes to the load balancer. And load balancer does a simple thing, it balances the load. Now I have two web servers, so load will be equally distributed round robin. Mostly the round robin algorithm we follow in the load balancer and the request gets distributed. Simple. Request get distributed, friends. It is not a single point of failure. If one server goes down, do you have a downtime?
No, the load will be
No.
distributed to other server.
But let's say we are hitting with 100 hits per second. Let's say the load is 100 hits per second. Let's say, imagine. And we require both the servers to handle my requests. I need both my servers. I need both my servers to handle the request. 1 second, friends. I'll just 1 second. So think about it. Let's say you have 100 hits per second. The heat is coming and load balancing is distributing 50 hits per second. And let's say the servers are fully utilized, 70-80% utilized. If one server goes down, what will happen, friends?
Performance will get degraded because only since one server is down, the whole load will be on other server instance.
Perfect. And also, Shravani, you can add one more thing. We will also see some errors. 5x6, 4x6, mostly 5x6. 5 not too bad gateway because one server would not be able to take up those requests. So mostly the server will be busy taking all the requests and it will
Yeah.
throw 5x6 errors also. Right? All
Yeah,
the
yeah,
transactions will not
but
go
they
through.
can be, yeah, but they can be intermittent based on,
Correct.
yeah,
I'm not
however
saying
we can see it.
100%. I'm not saying 100%. Whatever the capacity of the
Yeah,
server will accommodate, but if it beyond a particular threshold, which is going to happen, because I only told you 70-80% the servers are utilized, it will definitely throw intermittent 500, 5x6 errors. And performance will degrade.
yeah, yeah, and the results are not like much reliable or
Exactly.
what accurate.
Exactly. When very good, Shravani, you are thinking in a very right direction. I have seen people not having this much clarity. Yes, if you have contention on any infra, the numbers are not reliable. Whatever the response time we get, can we rely on that number, friends? No. As
No.
Shravani mentioned, no.
Mm.
No way. The numbers will not be accurate, will not be reliable. We cannot trust those numbers. So in production, so think about it, friends. In lower environment, as a performance tester engineer, we talk about only the performance testing part. We run some load. We do not have 100% infra as prod. We somehow calculate the load in production. We that's what our role is. I'm not sure what you do, but you can relate as a performance engineer, tester working in lower environment. That's what we should do. We should calculate the load that is going to go to production. That's going to happen in production. We
Hmm.
need to design non-critical, high, like critical scenarios, non-functional requirements. We need to have the scripting done. We need to do the workload modeling and need to simulate the load. Depending on again, if the infra is not, but you're putting load 100%, if the infra is not 100%, same as prod, the test is not going to pass.
Yes.
You need to understand the ratio of the infra as well between the lower environment and the higher environment. And accordingly, you need to test. And then you can certify that, okay, if you now we have run a test with this much infra, whatever the number is, for web server this much, app server this much, and database server this much. For this much infra, we could accommodate this much load. Doing the extrapolation, if you want to achieve production load, we need this much infra. Capacity planning. Do we do that, friends?
Yeah.
Right? Typical performance engineer role. Now, now there are a lot of other things which needs to be understood from a high availability perspective. So
Will this
that's
also include stress testing?
you can do that. See, whatever you want to do, maximum, that's what you need to know, right? So let's say you have one web server, app server, database server. You would like to know what is the maximum load we can accommodate in those servers. Then only you can do extrapolation and come to a conclusion. Now, to achieve production load, we need minimum this much infra. Now you cannot do a test with, let's say, X load, and when servers are 30% utilized, and you can extrapolate. You can do that, but that extrapolation would not be correct. You want to stress the servers to its full capacity, and then you would like to do extrapolation. That would be real extrapolation. Correct? Adit, is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Now, this is about the performance. So, as I told you, as an SRE engineer, that's this customer. See, customer wants this. End user, we expect from Flipkart, Amazon, Make My Trip, these things high available. The application will be highly available. We don't want sluggish. We want application to be first of all available, and we don't want performance to degrade. If the performance will degrade, the user will lose the interest and business would not flourish. We want the application to be secure because we user tend to store our information, personal information, address, credit card, debit card details. We don't want anybody hack the application so that our personal details, our all those finance information gets compromised. We don't want that. We want the application to be secure. We would like the application to be reliable. What does reliability mean? See, failures will happen. Whatever we try, how much ever we try, failures will happen. But how soon your application recovers, that's called reliability. That's the later meaning of reliability. Failures will happen. Definitely. Google had a downtime. Every company had a downtime. But how soon your application recovers? Can it recover automatically? And how long it takes to recover? If a server goes down, what would be the impact? It's a huge impact. In this scenario, it's a huge impact. My transactions are not getting successful. Think about it. It's a very serious thing. If Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra make my trip, if these are the if 5x6, so means what we are talking about, the orders are getting failed. They're not able to process the order. Is that what we mean? When we say 5x6, it's a serious thing. We don't want that. High response time, we don't want that. This is a serious concern. If one server goes down here, and if you have only one web server, one app server, one DB server, downtime, big risk. How can you make your application reliable? Now, in this situation, even if you have two servers, you will, if the failures will happen, you will experience slowness. You'll experience status code not 200. That's again, we need to fix this. So we should always have buffer. That's also one of the very important thing to do. We should not be having just neck to neck. Have some buffers in the server. We cannot just run 70-80% all the time and just run. And even if one server goes down, you have this kind of impact. And we want auto scaling to be configured. Even if one server goes down, I don't want to wait and do manual scaling up. No. That's reliability. I would like to have some headroom, first of all. Would like to give, and I would like to also configure auto scaling group so that I recover in this case. We have a lot of security services in the cloud. We have to leverage that. WAF, web application firewall, sealed. We have a lot of in the. So you need to have a very good understanding of cloud, the infrastructure, first of all, to become a good SRE engineer. Okay, very important. Because I would like to go towards cloud, but I don't know how many of you would be in a position to understand that. How many of us know cloud here? Yes or no? Quick in the chat check, please. Do we understand security group, NACL, network access control list? Do we understand sealed, WAF? Do we understand these words? Whatever I'm telling right now. Availability zone, region. Do we understand these things? I'm just talking about ABCD, okay, of the cloud, nothing else. Don't think I'm talking about something very big. No, just ABCD alphabets, how we have in English, the same thing. I just use those words. Availability zone, security group, web application firewall, sealed. We're talking about very ABCD. So friends, if you understand, it's good. If not, you need to do something about it, okay, to learn, to become an SRE or even a performance engineer. No, because nowadays we are talking about cloud performance engineer. It's performance engineer role is not about just the scripting and doing load nowadays, right? We need to understand a lot of things about the infrastructure, how it is deployed. It's a VM deployment or it's a Kubernetes deployment, container-based deployment, so that we can do capacity planning better. The capacity planning when we do for the VM deployment versus container-based deployment is totally different. Yes or no? Friends, anybody understand what I'm talking about? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So it's not about just have APIs, scripting, JMeter, load, and just check the response time. It's not about that. We have to do a lot of other things as well. So we need to have a thorough understanding, friends, reliability. And also, whatever you do, if it is not cost efficient, nobody likes it. The application has to be cost efficient. Whatever suggestions you're giving, If you are trying to optimize performance by using caching all the databases, is it cost efficient? Is it has to be really done? So we have whatever we suggest in the architecture, in the system design, architecture flow, it has to be cost efficient. So that's a very plus thing. But definitely these four things we definitely expect from the cost efficient also. I'm just putting it aside because from something from the cost, we have to have this high availability, high performance, security, reliability. Now, friends, as a performance engineer tester, we may be knowing this. I'm not sure we need to know, do we know this in the cloud or not? Because the cloud is totally different. We need to understand cloud. A lot of things on the security as well, right? We talked about IAM here. We have security group. We have NACL. We leverage private subnets. We have concept of public and private subnets in cloud. We have concept of WAF, sealed, guard duty. We have a lot of services in the cloud which we leverage to make our applications secure. We don't want anybody hack our application. So we have a lot of services in the cloud that we leverage so that our application is highly secure. Highly performance, you can test it and do the capacity planning better. But again, if you do not know, let's say cloud services, how the application is deployed. Let's say yeah, your application is deployed in S3, let's say Netflix. Let's say you work on Netflix or Hotstar. Let's say you join the company or Disney, uh, Hotstar or Discovery. You join those companies and a lot of other companies. I'm just using the popular names. One second, friend. Sorry, friends. I got from my dad. Okay. So highly performing. So let's say your application deployed in your Netflix, your application, you work for these companies, your Hotstar. I'm just giving a popular name because there's so many other companies, those who deployed in cloud. And let's say those are using AWS services in their infrastructure, in their architecture. And if you don't know about that service, let's say S3, Netflix, all the content that you watch in S3, they use auto scaling. Let's say when a match is being played, let's say Hotstar or Geo, when they stream a match, any T20 match or any match, a lot of users gets online to watch the match, right? Cricket match. A lot of users start using to stream, and the service auto scale. If we don't understand these things, how do we operate on these things? As a performance engineer, we would not be able to do much. It's not about just the putting load. Yeah, putting load is one part, definitely. Your JMeter skill would be, or your load runner skill would be important. We need to simulate the load. That's definitely there. But what you do after that, you need to have understanding of the architecture as well, where the application is deployed, right? So we need to understand those things as well to work on this. Now, to again high availability, we need to understand various other concepts, how to be highly available. I just told you one of the examples of one server, single point of failure. But in the cloud, we have concept of availability zones. We should leverage. Okay, we should go multi-node per AZ. Okay, multi-node or multi-server per AZ. How many of you understand this word? I don't want to just go on if nobody understands it. How many of you understand this? I'll just take the percentage and I'll go ahead. I'll
I
explain
don't have
this.
the detailed idea, but I can, refer it with the name.
Mhm. So you don't have idea, right? Okay, others, please could you confirm? Do we understand this word? What I used? Yes or no? Okay, I see no as well. Multi one deployment. I don't know what you're saying. Sarad, no, okay. So friends, we need to know cloud, okay? That's when we can talk about high availability, because see, in the cloud, if you talk about AWS or any cloud, Azure, they have a concept of region, data center, right? You understand, friends? Everybody understand what is a data center? Do we understand that?
Yes.
Right? Data center. So think like this. Just let's say a Google data center. I'll just take this example. Let's say this is one of the Google data center. So this is a data center. Uh, Multiple acres of land in the outskirts of a city, uh, big facility, and all the rooms, big rooms full of these kind of servers. Very costly thing to do. The servers which generate enormous heat. You maintain the cooling. The servers cannot run out of electricity. You have to have multiple redundant internet sources, electricity sources, internet connectivity, multiple redundant. You have to procure the land, construct the building, purchase all the servers. Very costly thing. Not everybody can afford to have a data center. Very big players can afford it. So this is what we call one AZ in the cloud, one availability zone. One data center is one AZ. And let's say in India, let's talk about AWS. We have two regions, one in Mumbai, one in Hyderabad. Uh, Region means multiple AZs put together. Region means, friends, multiple AZs put together. So think about like this. I'll draw a triangle. Think like this. Uh, you have three AZs usually. One AZ, okay, AZ1, availability zone 2, AZ3, AZ1, AZ2, AZ3. And that's what we call it a region. Mumbai region, Hyderabad region. We have this. Same thing for Azure and GCP as well. I'm talking about AWS. We have your AZ1. So to be highly available, I'll just give you one example, friends. Simple thing what you could do to avoid single point of failure, that we can have the servers multi-node per AZ. We can have multiple servers of the same type deployed in one AZ. Let's see, if I talk about a web server, I would have my web server, at least couple of web servers in AZ1, in AZ2, and AZ3 also. Web server. Why? What if this AZ goes down? Let's say earthquake happened. Not likely to happen. Flood came. And let's say you have all the servers deployed in the same AZ. An earthquake happened. Will you have downtime or not?
No.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
on in all them
I'll
we
repeat
can
my
have
question.
downtime.
I'll repeat my question first. When you have all your servers deployed in one AZ, an earthquake flood came, will you have downtime or not?
Yes.
Simple.
Yes.
So that's why we leverage all the AZs. These AZs are 150 to 200 kilometers apart. That is how they are designed. I'm not telling, this is how cloud has designed their data centers. Thinking this. So we should leverage multiple AZ. So we should have multi-node per AZ. We should leverage multi-AZ deployment. We should have servers in AZ1, AZ2, AZ3 as well. And we can have load balancer on top of it to distribute my traffic. Now think about it. We should have some headroom, and we have our servers in all the AZs. Think about, now, do you think it's less likely to have a downtime now, even if one server goes down? Yes or no?
Yes.
Now you have auto scaling group also, and you have given a condition, if a CPU utilization goes over 60%, create one more server. So if you have taken care of that, your performance will not degrade. Yes or no?
Yes.
So this is what you need to think about. Now you should start thinking in that. I have given one of the examples of EC2 servers, instances, but there are a lot of other things also. We need to configure the load balancer. How do we configure auto scaling group? Where do we store data? how the architecture would look like in the cloud. We should have that understanding as well. Okay, we cannot cover that today, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse of high availability. Performing, you have taken care of you need to take from the application code perspective. If you have application code issue, if you have memory leak or thread contention issue, the way you have written the code, unless you have written a bad query taking longer time, bad logic which takes longer time, you have to optimize that. That's a separate thing altogether. But from the infrastructure perspective, we have a lot of things in AWS or any cloud which can take care from the infrastructure perspective. Let's say you have optimized the code, but you have not taken care of infra. Again, performance will impact. You have to understand something called CDN. Have you leveraged CDN or not? Content delivery network, CDN. For caching, friend, do we understand CDN? Anybody understand CDN?
It's all new. We've
Yeah,
heard the
yeah.
terms, but not in detail. Like we don't have the complete understanding. I
Right.
mean, I don't have.
Others, anybody understand CDN here? Because very, very important from the performance perspective. If somebody asks you, give me 5 strategy, 5 ways I can optimize my performance of the application. So you should have this one of the things as CDN. Okay, I'll tell you, you'll understand now.
Loading the images or like
Okay, that's fine. I'll tell you. Let's say you hit a website, netflix.com, from your browser in India, let's say. The netflix.com server is in US, very far from you. Yes or no?
Yeah.
US is here, you are here, India. When you hit netflix.com or any website, amazon.com, your network packet travels all the way to US. It hits that and it gets downloaded again over the network. Or when you hit a website, network packet has to travel all the way. Network latency plays an important role. The further the server, the distance, it takes network latency play a very important role in these things. And when you're downloading streaming, it continuously keeps on hitting byte by byte and you stream it. You keep downloading it. And buffering that you see, right? When you stream a video, you experience that. So we do that over the network. And that's one of the regions. Let's say this guy here complaining about the bad performance. So what we can do here to optimize this solution, the netflix.com can have a server, caching server local to the user. Let's say in India, Netflix can have a server. We call it CDN, Content Delivery Network, caching server. They can configure a server for India. All the popular hits that are like across India, everybody using Netflix, whatever the popular hits they're coming, they're caching things here, already being cached. If let's say Netflix observes, okay, now this content is being watched, or this is very frequent content being watched, let's cache the content here to the local to the server. So when the user requests, the user will get the response from the caching server. Will that improve performance?
Yes.
Yes.
That's called CDN. Every website use that. Mostly the static data is what we store cache. Even our browser has the cache, right? If you hit amazon.com once, all the static pages gets downloaded. You remove the cache and try to hit the website again, you will take longer time. So that's what the caching does. So we need to understand. So that's why when I say we need to take care of from the infrastructure. Let's say you have optimized the code. There's no problem with the code here, Netflix code. But there are other things at play here. So we need to understand these things as well to improve the performance. So there are a lot of other things which goes into in S3. They use S3, one of the AWS service, friends. The Netflix. This is the AWS console, by the way. All the video content that we watch in Netflix, they store in S3. S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. All the videos they upload it here. In S3, and we have something called transfer acceleration. They used all the CDNs of AWS. You can configure it, and it will improve overall performance of the user, anybody. So there are a lot of things. The infrastructure perspective, we call it infrastructure. This is not the application code performance tuning. And we're not talking about the code here. We're talking about the infrastructure. These things play a very important role. Apart, not saying code is not important, query is not important. They are equally important to optimize the application performance. But the infrastructure also, if the infrastructure is not capable, what code optimization would do? Nothing. So we need to understand these aspects. So the role that we started here as an SRE engineer, our role is to work on production, friends. That's one of the very important things that we need to understand. We work in production. We take care of user, customer, end user. Go ahead.
Sorry to stop. One just a clarification. So we were mentioning about CDN and checking an example. So
You're
instead,
not audible. Could you try to be louder or come near
okay.
the mic?
So we were discussing about CDN and Netflix, right? So
Can
still
others
am
go
I
on mute, please? Who is speaking here? I'll mute one person.
surrounding?
Okay, wait. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
So we were discussing about CDN and S3 bucket. I'm just taking the raw Netflix as an example. Just
Sarvanan, can
yeah.
anybody understand Sarvanan? I'm not able to follow. Is it only for me
No,
or
not at
others?
all. No,
Okay.
same way.
Okay, no worries. You can proceed, we'll take this later.
Okay, sure. Okay. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, friends. So that's what I was telling, friends. So as a SRE engineer, our role is in the production to take care of customer experience, and performance is one part of it. We have to understand other things as well, along with cost optimization. So this is the role of an SRE engineer, friends. And we have other things. Since we work in production, we need to have automation skill as well. Apart from the knowledge of these things, we should understand automation, because we have other things also. Since we're talking about production, we talk about infrastructure a lot. So we need to automate the infrastructure. So I'll ask a simple question to understand what am I talking about infrastructure automation. Let's say you have applications like HDFC, SBI, Flipkart, Amazon. Like, what do you think? What would be the number of servers considering the load that they have, the features they have? What do you think they would guess a number? What would be the number of servers they would have in production? Not in lakhs. That will be
I
too
think they
much.
would have multiple servers in different regions.
Just multiple server, Aditi. You need to think at scale.
No, no,
Look at
no.
the load.
I mean, like
Definitely
in one region
hundreds,
itself, they would have a lot of servers.
right? Hundreds of servers, right? 500, 600 servers. They would
Yeah.
definitely have. So do you think somebody would be provisioning those servers, configuring all those servers manually? Do you think is it possible? Not possible. Simple. To put it simple, it's not possible. To design the complete solution, we need to understand infrastructure automation as well. Okay. So these are additional skills. So as an SRE engineer, as a performance tester engineer, you may be knowing about this, but only the application part, the load part, how much you know about the infrastructure, You can understand this, but you have to understand these aspects from the cloud perspective. So we need to talk about infrastructure automation as well. Uh, and other automation as well. I would put other automation as well, like CI/CD pipeline, because we will deploy, because it all supports if you don't understand the deployment process, we would not be able to catch the issue. If the issue is with the deployment, we would not be able to know. So we need to understand the deployment process, I would say. How do we deploy things? How do we roll back the code? Let's say when you deployed the code, but you are getting errors. You had tested in the low environment, test was working was fine, but as soon as it was it went to prod, you might have heard this, right? We have to roll back. You might have heard in your company, right?
Yeah.
So you need to understand deployment process. We need to understand the rollback process so that in rollback deployment in such a way that users should not get impacted. Blue green deployment, canary deployment, rolling update. You might have heard of these terms, right? So we need to have that thorough understanding of these things. Automated deployment process, CI/CD pipeline. So we need to have the understanding. We need to have the understanding of disaster recovery. What to do if a disaster happens. I was giving you one example about one region. We should deploy one. So we should leverage all the edges of the region. What if the entire region goes down? What would you do? Company like Nasdaq, US Exchange, NSC, they are
US,
missing. Correct. Sorry,
use
US
next region
Exchange.
servers.
Can you come again? What did you say, Aditi? Can you repeat that?
Use servers in the next region.
Correct. That's disaster recovery. Correct. So we are only talking about using multiple edges of the region. But what would you do if the entire region goes down? So you have to have a strategy in place. What would you do so that users don't get impacted? That is what we're talking about. What would you do to make sure that users do not get impacted? So you have to plan for it. Who would plan for it? SRE engineers would plan for it. So disaster recovery, DR, I'm use the word. We have to do chaos testing in production. We have to purposefully bring some application down. We may not have tested this performance tester, but we have to do chaos testing. We need to bring chaos to the system. We need to test. We'll test in low environment, but we'll see. We will run the test full fledged and we'll bring one server down, we'll bring one load balancer down and understand the impact. Are we getting 500? Are we getting response time getting degraded? Chaos testing. So we have to do all these sort of things because what is the supreme as an SRE engineer? Customer experience in production. Whatever we do, developers writing the code, QA engineers doing functional testing, doing performance testing. Why are we doing all this thing for? Customer experience, right? And that is what, so SRE engineers are the gatekeeper for the customer experience. They need to understand a lot of things to take care of it. Yeah, it's quite a role. That's why it is so much a demand, so much rewarding. So what do you need? Let's say somebody asks another very important question that I get. Okay, Rasam, that's good that we understand these things. What all additional skills that we need to have to become an SRE engineer? Popular questions, friends. So again, you need to have if you are into performance testing, again, depending on which role you are. If you're a performance tester engineer, you need to continue to do that role. I'm going to assume that you are very good at troubleshooting things. So one of the troubleshooting, load simulation, performance testing, I would say. Performance testing engineering is a very important skill to become an SRE engineer because you are good at troubleshooting. You can troubleshoot things. You have that mindset of troubleshooting. Why the slowness? You have the understanding of application architecture. You can drill down to the root cause. Where is the problem? So that's one of the very important skill set that you want. QA automation engineers, if you want to become an SRE engineer, you have a background on scripting, writing code, programming. This skill would be helpful here. But again, you need to have other skills as well. So as I told you, scripting, I'm not telling from a coding perspective. I'm not expecting from a code developer perspective. There has to be a difference out there. Programming from a automation perspective, automation scripting. I would use the word scripting, Python scripting, cell scripting, automation, Python scripting, cell scripting, automation perspective. Your CI/CD pipeline, your infrastructure automation. How do you automate the deployment process? These things, friends. When I say about automation, we are expecting about these things here, these skill sets. So troubleshooting is a very important skill set. You should be able to simulate some load, do some chaos
So,
testing. Go ahead.
so basically in scripting, you are in saying automation plus DevOps.
You can say like this. You see, DevOps role would be different role. DevOps role is to do the deployment. Okay.
Hmm.
Do the deployment in various environment. Code is ready. Developer has developed the code. Code is ready. DevOps engineer role is to deploy the code to QA environment. Functional testing will test it. Deploy the code to a non-production environment, other non-production, then deploy the code to production environment. That's the role of a DevOps engineer. But as an SRE engineer, if you don't understand the deployment process, you would not be able to catch the deployment issues. You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
If the code is deployed to production, let's say, and you have some issues, and if you do not understand what is blue-green deployment, rolling update deployment, how do you roll back the code? Yeah, DevOps engineer can also do that. Very thin line between the, from a deployment perspective, from these two perspectives, DevOps engineer roles are overlapping. But SRE engineers are good to have understanding of these things. You may not be expected to write the pipeline as such, but it's good to have that understanding. Clear? I hope I'm making sense to all of you. Why this is important?
Yes.
Yes, Roshan.
Now, apart from this, we need to have cloud knowledge, friends. Enormous cloud, very good cloud knowledge, very good, to a level of where you can troubleshoot things, because we are talking about troubleshooting things. You need to have very good knowledge of cloud, how application gets deployed. I'll tell you when I have a course, I'll come to that, friends. If you're interested, you can attend the demo. After in 2 weeks, I'm wrapping up a batch. I'll show you something. When I take the cloud, let's say how many of you understand this? You can, from my one of the course that I'm going to show you a PPT. Okay, I'm going to ask a simple question. How many of you understand this thing? And how many of you how many components here? This is the generic architecture of any solution deployed in cloud. The backbone, the networking part. And that takes care of a lot of things about security, and the way these servers are deployed. We have a VPC at the region level. I was talking about that. We have the VPC at the region level. At the AZ level, we have subnets, public subnet and private subnet. The difference being the public subnet and private subnet, that when you create the server in public subnet, you get public IP. When you create server in the private subnet, you don't get public IP. Only the load balancer is in the public subnet. We don't want the web server to have the public IP or any of my server to have the public IP. Once the request has, let's say any user hits amazon.com, once the request through internet gateway has reached my load balancer in the public subnet. Now, once the request is in my VPC, internally the request can be directed to my web server, app server database, all my servers in the private subnet. Because we don't want the public IP for the servers. We want the secure connectivity to the S3 or any databases. We want the secure connect to our on-premise systems. We have a NACL, we have a security group, peering, we have flow logs. So we have a lot of things. So this is generic architecture of any solution in cloud. So you need to have a thorough understanding of cloud, how your application is deployed. Then only you would be able to understand this security perspective, high availability perspective, disaster recovery perspective. That's very important. Good. So we need to have the cloud knowledge. Okay. First thing. So that's important. Scripting, cloud knowledge must, friends. Apart from that, friends, your understanding of containerization. Do we understand containerization, microservice architecture? Like, first of all, I'm not sure how many of you understand. Like, you guys nodded, but I'll just tell containerization. You should have the understanding of containerization, friends. The Docker, Kubernetes, because this is the de facto solution nowadays. Nowadays, if you talk about deployment, you will talk about Kubernetes. Nobody is deploying your application in the VMs nowadays. Very few. All the deployments are happening in the Kubernetes. Friends, just let's take a poll here. How many of your I hope we all understand the where your code is getting deployed. It's a VM or container. What is that? And if you do not know it's VM or container, then I don't have anything to say, because you don't understand the deployment part, or you have never done a capacity planning, I would say. But do you understand where your code is getting deployed, VM or container? Okay, they container. Other? No idea? At least, friends, VM, you can say VM or container, anything. You have to use one, right? That's the exposure, friends. I think you were not like or understanding this very important thing, right? Where you're deploying the code in a VM, your auto scaling, your capacity planning depends on that. Your container, your auto scaling testing, how the pods auto scale, how the VMs auto scale. That's very important from it. So you need to have a good understanding of this, friends. I would keep it simple. And you need to have the understanding of some SRE thing. Yes, on top of VM, we'll have containers. That's right. That's right, sir. That's right. So you can say containers. And this had a lot of things, friends. Java tuning, application, Java performance. From the application code perspective, I would say JVM performance or Java performance, right? You need to have understanding of the deployment process, as I told you. So you can think like DevOps, understanding of DevOps. Understanding of DevOps. You may not be doing pipeline creation, but you need to have the understanding of, so I'll put this here. You need to have the understanding of DevOps. DevOps is all about automation. I'll keep it here, DevOps. DevOps is a mindset, right? The way we automate things. And you need to understand SRE concepts, a lot of SRE concept that we have. Security, we need to understand security services. So this is the role and responsibility of an SRE engineer, friends. You need to understand all the security services, which I am listing right here. SRE concepts, I would use this word DR, high availability, DR, chaos, all these things, chaos testing. So sum it up, this is what you require to become an SRE engineer, friends. Everybody on the same page? Like, do we understand better understanding of the SRE roles and responsibility, friends? So friends, if you're looking for to become an SRE engineer, I can help you, friends. I have a course I take up with ESA Trading Solutions from last 6 years. I'm taking up this course with them. You can enroll. You can just join the demo session, and I'll talk more about the course, what all we have, what all we cover, how we cover, and all. Right. So I'll just give a link, and I will stop after this. Can take up the questions. So this is the link of the course that I have, friends, and we talk about everything that we have covered here. All the things that we discussed, we cover here in this course. So we have a demo on 19th July in 2 weeks. I'm wrapping up a batch. So I will have a demo on 19th July. You can attend the demo. And if you are convinced or if you think it adds value to your career, you can get started with me on this learning journey. You can check out the syllabus, Linux. I have also seen, friends, Linux, not everybody is comfortable. That's why I've included Linux. I've seen people very comfortable in Windows, but I'll ask you a simple question, friends. Where 95 to 98% of the enterprise deployment happens in Linux or Windows Server?
Linux.
95 to 98. Linux. And if you don't understand Linux, how would you go inside the Linux server? How would you check the logs? How would you do things operations? Very difficult. So we have included Linux session as well. Cloud, Linux, SRE concepts, monolithic microservices, Docker, Kubernetes in detail, okay, in detail from scratch, everything. Um, we talk about performance engineering and DevOps, uh, gaining resiliency, reliability in AWS, observability. We talk about observability. I just missed that topic. Friends, I just thought about troubleshooting part. Without observability, without monitoring, can we troubleshoot anything?
No.
Is it possible? Not possible. So that's the metrics. Like if somebody asks about our health without seeing the blood reports, ECG, echo, can we comment about our health? No, right? Same thing. We would not be able to troubleshoot any application if we don't have the diagnostics, the metrics with us. The CPU, memory, response time, throughput, error, status code, exceptions, throughput, if it's a JVM, GC, how GC is performing, GC throughput, thread usage, if it's database connections, database response time, query performance, wait times. If you don't have these metrics, how would you be able to capture things? How do you able to troubleshoot things? Not at all possible. So observability as well. So we have covered that database, cloud, automation part, friends. So this is the friends we cover. So you can feel free to attend the demonstration, friends. I hope the session was useful to you. Everybody learned something here. That was the main intention. Friends, I'm sharing the link with you. Can bookmark this link, go over this. And let's meet on 19th July to go over the demo. Any questions I can take it up, friends? I see a question from Dev. I have no working experience in IT field. I have only done cloud architect PG course, 15 years experience, currently working as a customer success manager in telecom. Oh, see, Dev, you are asking a difficult question. Is this course help you? Yes. Can you do it? It's up to you. Right. So that's how I would answer this question. This course will definitely help you. You have seen friend, this course takes 2.5 months or 3 months to complete. It's a very vast course. But it's up to you how much interest this topic you are interested in these topics, Dave. How much? That's because same thing as you're changing the field. So depends on your interest mostly. If you're interested, if you think whatever we discussed looks very interesting to you, then you're good. And if things are boring or again going on over your head, you need to put a lot of efforts. That's how I would say, Dave. Any other questions, friends, before I have a lot of gave many interviews, but they always ask for experience. That they would do that, right, Dave? They would do that if you, particularly if you have expectations with your salary, they would do that, right? If I try to become right now customer success manager, being in IT different field, would you take me? No, right? Easily. Same thing, right? So and even if I have to start from scratch. I cannot expect whatever I'm getting in IT to get there, right? At the same level, I cannot expect to start. So that's a challenging thing that you are going through as of now. I can understand. Yeah, you have to understand this and take a call what you want to do. Okay, friends. Any other questions I can take it up for anything on anything, whatever we have discussed, friends. Go ahead.
Hey Roshan, I have a
Yes.
question. For example, let's say like this course is happening and I take up this course. I mean, is there any type of on-hands experience given by this institute? Like
Everything is hands-on.
hands-on is not like experience. I mean, for example, let's say you have a project or a part-time project where one
That's
of
what I'm telling
engineers
Nilesh.
can work.
Every topic that I will talk about is hands-on. I'm gonna make you things. I'm gonna do things, and you're supposed to do this. And in that way, you will have projects on daily basis. Everything is hands-on. This course is 20% theory, which I will talk about it. 80% hands-on. You will be. You will in any day. You will see this screen only cloud screen. I'll be doing some operation or the other. Cloud screen or Linux console screen. This is what you're going to see 80% of the time, any day. Either I'm going to do things here in the UI or I'm in the I'm in the Linux console. That's only complete hands-on course. Daily basis, you will have a project. I hope that answers your question, Nilesh.
Yeah, Roshan.
Roshan, I have a question. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm from PT background, so I don't have much exposure to coding. Okay, as you mentioned that we will be dealing with Python. Okay, so like what should be the compatible levels? Like getting into Python, like how
Yeah,
we will be
see,
taking the things forward.
see, you have to again, as part of Python, I would not be able to take a lot of things. I would give you some scripting exercises or examples. As part of the course, if you go over it, I'll talk more about the course. As part of the course, what do? We give you a Python session. It's a part of recording session that I give you as part of Python. We have 45 hours of live sessions, but as part of the course, where the link went. So Python we are giving as part of the recorded session. Okay, just like as part of the course, you to get started on this. If you see this course in detail, we don't need that much programming knowledge. It's scripting knowledge what we require. So I guide you on how do you get started. I personally guide you on how do you get started on Python automation journey. It's so simple. We will make use of Chat GPT. We'll make use of our Copilot, and I'm going to walk you through how do you get started. Even if you don't have any background knowledge, how do you get started? You have to start somewhere. You start
Yes.
small. Start
Okay.
small. I would take you a simple example. I'll give you a simple example, which I always give you. Let's say if I give you 10 codes, 10, simple 10 code, add two number, maximum of two number, factorial of 10 numbers, simple interest, like these are easily done, right? Even if you have never done a coding, it doesn't
Yes.
make it is not a big thing to do understand this code, right? So I always suggest to start small like this. Go over 10, 20 examples, and I'll show you a
Okay.
couple of examples, and that's how you pick it up.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, sir. This is Pallavi.
Yes, Pallavi, go ahead.
Yeah, I done my bachelor degree in computer science 10 years before. So I want to start now. So I know the few terms, but as the friend said now, just Python. So I also the want to know whether is it okay to go with this one with
Yeah,
having
see,
little
don't
knowledge.
worry about Python.
Not only
Python, do not.
Python, but the
Yeah.
other terms. No,
Yeah, do
these are
not make Python as a very barrier here. Python is 5% of the entire course.
okay. The other things also I know little bit. So this will become in once course will start.
Right,
So
right. So you need
okay.
to see for the gap, right? Gap. Let's say
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
you have working on different field, Pallavi.
I was working as an assistant professor, but I worked for 2 year, 2.5 years. So that is also after
You're
completing my
into
bachelor.
IT or non-IT? That's what I mean to ask.
No, IT only. Yeah, computer science engineering.
Okay, so you understand then what like which profession like what lectures you were used to take?
I took like C language, Java,
Then you already
like
have
that
Java.
one.
Why you ask this question? Python. You already have Java,
No, no, no.
Python.
Cloud computing, these things. No,
That's
I'm
fine.
not that much.
We
So
will learn that. We will learn that.
okay, okay. I just want to know that one
Yeah,
things
we will
only.
learn that
Whatever
from
you did.
scratch. I tell you, okay,
Okay, okay,
I have a confidence and I have taught a 12th standard kid. Okay,
okay. I like the way you are teaching, so
right.
I'm positive
You are
about
a
this
professor,
one. So
so you can relate this with me, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
teaching is
sir.
my
Yeah.
profession, my hobby. I would
Okay.
say I
Yeah.
work in IT, but teaching is my hobby. So yes,
Okay.
I like to make things
Yeah.
simple, and you would have noticed this because you are yourself a professor, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So we take
yeah.
it from scratch, zero
Oh,
knowledge. 12th standard I can teach. You don't need a big IT bachelor degree to learn
do
cloud.
this.
Okay, so
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
good. Okay, Dave is also a professor. Perfect.
Roshan, what is the duration of the course, Roshan?
Okay. It's a very uh, it's a very vast course. Okay, because we have a lot of things to cover. Um, uh, my batches are going from April. Okay, I'll show you my ongoing batches. There are batches which are going from April also. I'm about to complete those batches. So 3 months, 2.5 to 3 months, you can say. There are batches which goes on. Yeah, I have multiple batches. So so 3 months, I would say. I would just show you one of the batches that takes from. I'm about to complete this April batch. So yeah, so still going 2 3 sessions left. So definitely take 3 months. We got a very vast course. So yeah. 45 hours of live sessions, 40 to 45 hours, and we will meet over the weekends, 1.5 hours to 2 hours, Saturday, Sunday, same. And I'll expect you to practice things. That's why we go slow and we cover a lot of things in this course. So 3 months, definitely you can think like this.
I have a question, Roshan. Um, once you become an SRE engineer, I believe you just mentioned that most of your course you are going to get ourselves hands-on through Linux, AWS, but organizations who like mostly use Azure, how would you,
Okay,
you know?
those who use Azure, right? Those don't say Azure is the most used cloud, right? Don't. I hope you're not saying that, right?
Yes, but I used to work for a company and they used only Azure.
Yeah,
And
that
I
happens. Yes,
previously,
that happens.
I,
Yes.
I I'm sorry to say, I previously joined your course, but unfortunately, I was busy at work. I could not complete the course. I
Mhm.
really like your way of teaching, and that's why I'm back.
Okay.
So, so that is what I wanted to know, whether I really don't know about AWS, but
Hey,
however,
you know about Azure, Lee. I'll keep it
well,
simple.
I can only, navigate few things as per our
Okay, I
requirements.
got you. I got your question. Let me just speak few sentences. Your doubt will be clarified. See, uh, we have multiple cloud. We have 10 cloud providers. Okay, AWS, Azure, GCP, DigitalOcean, Oracle, Alibaba, HP, IBM. Just name it. 10. Nobody can know everything. Right? Even I would have started from somewhere. I have worked on multiple cloud. 4 cloud I have worked in my career as of now, hands-on. AWS, Azure, GCP, and Oracle. 4 cloud I have worked. I was in Oracle also for some time. OCI they call it, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So you start with one cloud because the use case is same. Why do we use cloud? Because I want to get the server. I want to get the storage. I want to get the load balancer. I would like to get the managed databases. So the use case, or I would like to create users, manage permissions for the users. The use case remains the same. Use case doesn't vary. The UI thing changes. This is the UI for the AWS. If you want to get a server, you go to EC2, is the service, you go to EC2 and get the server, whatever you want. You go here, instances, and you get core, RAM, disk, operating system, you go and select it and launch it. This is how it works in AWS. If you go to GCP, let's say GCP Cloud, Google Cloud. I hope I have the access, but I'm not using it quite often nowadays. Let's see. So this is the view of the GCP. What you go here, you go to compute engine, and you go to the VM instance and create the server. So it really doesn't matter. And you configure the same way. The UI, the look and feel would change. If I want to get the Kubernetes, I'll go here. I'll create the Kubernetes engine in like this. If I want to get the billing, I would go here. If I need the storage, I'll go here. In the cloud, if I need Kubernetes, I'll go to EKS service and I will use it. If I need the S3, I'll go ahead and use this. So the use case remains the same. It's just the UI navigation would be different. And one more thing, we have a link. Compare cloud.in. Okay. I share this link with everybody. If you're talking about compute, you call EC2 in AWS. In Azure, you call it virtual machine. I showed you compute engine in GCP. Just the name changes. The use case remains the same. You want to get the server. Now you go to virtual machine in Azure. If you have Azure access, I'll just show you right away. You can also search it. Okay, Azure virtual machine. How do you go it? So you would get the console, you would navigate it, you would understand, okay, to get the server in AWS, what did I do? I selected the operating system, I selected the compute, the core and the RAM, the disk. You know things, what you need to provide. Same thing, they would also ask you, any cloud would ask you the same thing. The use case remains the same. The look and
Thank you.
feel, the UI would be different. It's like if you have used a Windows laptop and if let's say you have given a MacBook, some difference would be there, but you can play the video, you can do same thing, same operation, you can open the Gmail, the look and feel would be different, the UI would be different, but eventually you would end up getting doing the same thing. That's the difference, Ali. Yeah, please ask any question if you have any doubts, if further still have.
Thank you very much. And after becoming SRE engineer, like after taking this course, like like just to understand, like how long, how much experience do we require to get at least, confident that, okay, I am a SRE engineer. I'm confidently, just wanted to understand, like how long does it take? Like maybe
See,
a year or two?
I would see, as part of standard knowledge, you need to have this, right? The fundamentals, the basic thing that you require to have that understanding hands-on. But it really, you need to depends on your interest, your level of how much interested you are in these things, you how much exploring, how much you are involved in these things. That will increase your confidence. Yes, you will be able to clear the interview upon my attending the course because you would be able to answer most of the questions. But how comfortable you would be working in the job, that depends on your interest level. And that's your interest level. That's if you're interested, you will find a way. Everybody will face the challenges, but if you're interested, you don't want to give up, you will find a way. So even if you it's a new, even I get challenges and I would like to explore it. So I check around, I explore around, and I find a way. I make my way. You have a lot of documentation in place. You have got Chat GPT. You have got Copilot. You have so many ways nowadays to get through all these obstacles. So if you need to be interested and explore, you just cannot relax. Okay, I have attended the course, and if you don't remember, you need to practice it to remember most of the items. And if you don't practice it, you just listen to me, come again next week and listen to me. Very doubtful. You listen to me, practice it again, listen to me, ask questions, you struggle, definitely your confidence will be higher. Simple. Hard work pays off.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. I think we are good with the question. Thank you so much, everybody. We can meet on demo. Please feel free to attend. You would be getting invites to attend the demo in your WhatsApp. Okay, team would be reaching out to you. Please join it, attend the demo, and let's see. We'll explore more about the course. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope everybody learned something today. Right? That was the main objective. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Roshan. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.